Hey everyone, Anne O'Connell here with OC Publishing, and welcome to the author journey. I hope you're having a great day and ready to do some international exploring. I have as a guest with me today Trish Joudrey, who just recently released her very exotic and gripping memoir, Dancing with the Marigolds. Trish is a very dear friend who also, not only is she very uh, interesting expat, but she's just come back from doing the Camino. We'll ask her about that. But Dancing with the Marigolds just released last week to tremendous accolades, and we had so much fun at her launch. She's originally from here in Nova Scotia, and she's back home, and she's sharing her story of living for 12 years and making some amazing transitions, doing some very deep thinking. So I'm really happy to have her with us today to tell you all about that journey. And welcome, Trish.
Hi, Anne. So nice to be here. I'm delighted. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. And you look so beautiful. I love the design and the beading on your dress. Is that from India?
Yes, this is one of my prized outfits. I've worn this to many weddings, and yeah, it's a designer piece by Rohit Ball from Mumbai. Yeah, it's just a very special. I always feel good when I wear it, so I thought I'd wear it today.
Oh, I love it. It's so beautiful. And congratulations on your launch. I so thoroughly enjoyed the celebration. There was some very moving moments, and you incorporated some lovely traditions. How does it feel to now have your book out in the world and have it feted like you did?
Yeah, it's definitely has been a journey. It's been a long time coming, and yeah, it's just starting with the concept and writing and revising and editing, and yeah, to get to this point, it seems a little surreal. Very elated and happy about it though, and as I said in my launch, it's writing and the journey of publishing isn't about making money at all. It's about sharing it with dear friends and family. So it felt really good.
Oh, it's incredible. And it sings. It's poetic, and the your guest introducers and the folks that asked questions really did get that feeling from the book. And I'm not quite finished, but I get the same thing. And it's lulling. It's heart-wrenching. You know what I mean? There's just so much in it. So what was it that drove you to put pen to paper and share about these 12 years? And how did you stay there for 12 years?
Well, those are big questions.
I know. I should ask one at a time, right?
Yeah, we could do this all day. Well,
What motivation to write first?
yeah, when you, and I think you probably can relate to this because you've lived in many places and abroad for a long time. And there always seems to be this blip in your life that no one else can relate to. It's been there. It's been a big part of my journey and your journey, and yet it's hard to be able to share that with people because for one thing, they haven't been there, they haven't been part of it, they have no idea what actually goes into living in a foreign culture. And so it was, and I had so many experiences, and so that was part of my motivation for writing. And then once I got into the actual writing, it forced me to make sense with some of my decisions and some of the experiences that I had. So it was quite a journey that way, and and the more I sort of delved into what I had gone through, I
Mhm.
um, I felt compelled to get to write about it, and it was a personal journey for me too.
Oh, absolutely. And you had lived as an expat in other parts of the world as well. You had spent some time in China, hadn't you?
Yeah, I spent 5 years in China. I had worked at the American International School there as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, we had, because China is China, we were living on a compound. So
Hmm.
we had a lot of support, and um, we didn't get into the community as deeply as I could in India.
Hmm.
So it was a different experience, and I think, as you heard in my launch, I felt, when I got the job in India, I felt I could easily go there because I had lived 5 years in China, and I thought, well, piece of cake, but it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't that way at all.
Right. And you do, and this is, you could have turned it into fiction or, but this is really raw and real, from my perspective. And as I mentioned in the intro, you're a music teacher. You have that creative side of you, the musicality. Does that lend itself to writing? Like, how does that sort of inform, you know, pen on paper versus what you hear from an instrument or a voice?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and that was asked, at the launch as well. And I hadn't thought about it before. Maybe it's just, ingrained in my nature. Um, I am very descriptive, and I am
Hmm.
very um, sort of introspective. So some of those things come out in my writing. I do have to, you know, um, sort of shorten things, and because I can go on and paint pictures very easily, and
Hmm. But
imagery.
and you do a beautiful job of that. And I have traveled the world, but India is one place I've never been. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go. Um, and so my understanding of it is that you really don't get it until you're immersed in it. So, and that must be difficult. I've written about living in Dubai, and Thailand, and, trying to get that sort of the flavors and the smells and the senses across, is one thing I think as writers, as authors, we work hard at that. And, some people might say, oh, that must come so easily to you. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So for reading Dancing with the Marigolds, I mean, the cover is so joyful. You talk a lot about the dancing and the music and all of the wonderful things culturally. I love Indian food, but it's not all rainbows and marigolds. Do you want to talk about, and at one point in the book, you'd only been there for a few months, and you really, think to yourself, what have I done? And, can I stay? So talk about a little bit about, how that feels to be so far away.
Yeah, it's um, when one leaves a country and gets immersed in another country. Initially, there is euphoria, a feeling of just happiness and lightness, and spring in your step, and you experience all these interesting and wonderful new things, and then the reality kind of sinks in of what you are able to do and what you can't do, and
Right.
it's and India has so many different layers on the when I first went there, it was lovely, and I was meeting new people and eating new food, and then I felt, and I had been newly single when I had gone there, so
Mhm.
I was looking for some self-expression and some
Mhm.
independence and things that I wanted to do, because I had never really been on my own before, and I didn't know anybody in India either.
Mhm.
So once I started um, living there, and when I got there at the end of July, so the American school starts in um, the end of July, beginning of August. So I
Mhm.
started working in August, and the monsoons start in where I lived in November, and um, and they're heavy. I mean,
Mm.
they flood the streets, and it's very humid
Mm.
monsoon start, so it's very hot and very sticky. And so after the euphoria waned, I felt so I felt that I had to depend on everyone for everything. That my independence was um, almost non-existent. I couldn't go
Mhm.
outside and walk, and as you know, doing the Camino and walking, I'm a huge walker.
That's your
And,
thing.
and I like being active and doing things. And I felt I was stuck inside, and I didn't have. There was no transportation. I mean, there were these green buses that I actually never ever I never rode in the entire 12 years I was there. People are hanging off the windows and the door and the gram.
And the roof.
No windows anyway, so I never rode those. And the only when I've gone there in 2003, it was auto rickshaws, and they were open to the elements and the exhaust coming in from the green buses and the motorbikes. And I used to go to school with a scarf over my face, just because I couldn't breathe the air, and I was actually suffocating, living there. So yes, after 3 months, I really wanted to leave, to get
So
out.
you felt your mission for independence and freedom was kind of seemed to be out of reach at that point.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I didn't like riding the auto rickshaws and breathing
Mhm.
in the pollution,
Mhm.
and not only that, I couldn't be spontaneous. I couldn't, if I wanted to go shopping or go out to eat.
Mhm.
I'd have to go out on the street and find an auto rickshaw, and then take me down, and then it wasn't really safe for, especially, white females to come home
Mhm.
at night in an auto
After
rickshaw
dark.
after,
Mhm.
after dark,
Mhm.
or I didn't feel safe. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Um, so that was limiting as well, and
Yeah.
it was a major, um, trip to go anywhere.
To do anything, yeah. Were you as you were experiencing all these firsts, were you writing about them? Like, did you have material, like, when you came home and you look back at your time there, was it just all up in swirling around in your memory, or did you have little things that you had written over
That's a
the years?
great question, Anne. And I wish I had written things down at the time, but I
Lesson learned.
didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So when
Um,
you sat down to write, you were going entirely from memory and feelings. Wow.
yeah, those
Okay.
things stuck very deeply. They just.
Well, yeah, and I suppose that in a place like India, you don't even have to try to turn your senses on. They're just on high alert at all times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I've traveled around Southeast Asia and so there are lots of places that I think are similar, but nothing is like India. Do you have an excerpt that you would like to read for us?
Oh gosh. How long do you want me
Oh,
to?
just a minute or two. Yeah, a couple of pages would be wonderful.
Okay. Well, I'll read a little bit about in the introduction. It just
Sure.
gives a sense of,
Sets us up.
yeah, sets you up for the story. So um, you can cut me off whenever you want to, Anne. Okay. Oh, the introduction. And I have a quote for every chapter. And this quote is, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning. And that's from Mahatma Gandhi. There is a common belief in India with both expats and Indians that a visit to India will change you. And some say India changed me. I believe, however, India just awakened something deep inside me, something that was always there, but just needed to be released and nudged to the surface. In that sense, India was like a mother to me, nurturing seeds of growth and awakening an internal joy and love for life that I thought I had lost forever. And yes, in the end, when I returned to Halifax, Canada 12 years later, I was a changed person. Initially, I thought I had gone to India only for the job, to see a bit of the country, get my feet back on the ground after the heartache of divorce, and then to move on. However, once in India, I discovered that I had much to learn about myself, more than I had imagined. I eventually learned how to have fun fearlessly, how to journey forth into the unknown by myself, to find my voice and use it, and to live alone and embrace it. It is only after returning to Halifax with distance and time for reflection that I am able to articulate the 12-year journey that defined me and how India, a mystical dichotomy of tradition and modernity, conformity and rebellion, and poverty and wealth impacted that change. This story is told through the lens of being a privileged Canadian expat. Therefore, my experiences are colored by my good expat salary, benefits of medical, housing, and a paid annual return ticket to Canada. I was able to live in relative luxury, and I was fortunate to be included in elite local circles in Chennai. I have never taken that for granted, and I realize it has influenced my attitude and perspective on this story. My journey is much like the fool's journey, a metaphor used in tarot cards for the journey through life and to oneself. The complete deck has 22 major arcana cards, each standing for a particular stage in one's lifelong journey of development. Therefore, I use tarot cards as section headings corresponding to the stages of my inner growth and quest for peace. My story starts with the Fool. The card is the beginning tarot card of the deck and has no number. It is 0. The image on the card depicts a person leaping into the unknown, armed with nothing more than a bag carried on a stick. That was pretty much me when I left home for Chennai. I carried my own baggage of confusion and insecurity. I was alone. I had no understanding of where I was headed, but I got on the airplane anyway. My new challenges came in the name of the Lovers, the 6th card in the deck. Yes, this can be sexual in nature, but this card also represents the quest for meaningful relationships and understanding of one's own beliefs. It is in this section where I must find my inner peace and love myself. Finally comes the time for judgment, the second last card of the deck. The Fool has made mistakes along the way and has taken given in to fears, but realizes now that a decision can and must be made about the future. It is time to reflect on values and what is ultimately important. For me, this was a particularly difficult part of my journey and took a long time, 4 years, to understand my own authentic calling and realizing my failures. I had to make an agonizing decision to leave India, but in hindsight, it was the best choice I could have ever made for myself and for my family. My journey is not complete, nor do I think it ever will be. But with each cycle around the deck, I may, hopefully, get a little more wiser and know myself a little better. This story is just one such rotation. My children are at the heart of this memoir. I have discussed many aspects of the story with them to let them know that the story is told from my perspective only and may differ from their recollections of the same events. My journey is like a dance, not only because I love to dance, but because dance transports the body and mind into rhythmic freedom and movement, into another world, and ultimately into the crevices of oneself. India, with her mesmerizing culture, carried me like a twirling golden marigold in the wind, continually prodding me and lifting me up to find beauty and inner peace. It was often challenging, sometimes humorous, but always like the predictable heat of the burning Indian sun, an intense adventure.
Oh, oh, thank you for that, Trish. That really does, you know, open the book up to the experience that the reader is about to have, and joining you in that very, conflicting and exciting and stressful experience in your life. And one of the things that you said in the book that really has stayed with me, I'm not quite finished yet, but it stayed with me, is when you talk about your privilege hounding you. And the time you're in the auto rickshaw and the little girl was begging for rupees, and your Indian driver said, do not give her any money. And that really was upsetting for you. Talk a little bit about that, because it really, I mean, if you didn't take notes at that point, it really did come across that you were able to bring the reader right into that scene.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that. It was one of those things that just is ingrained in your memory. And just to set it up, I was in the auto rickshaw and we were stopped at a stoplight, and most often when we're stopped, it's just we are deluged with people coming to beg for money, and some of them are very creative, like, oh, wash your windows, or like, buy this, and flogging things. But this particular girl had she must have been like 9, and she had this little baby on her hip, and she was kind of like, just grabbing this baby, and she was, money, and like, I was searching through my purse, and as you say, my driver said, no, madam, and I go, why? Like, I have way more, I have so much to give. And he explained to me, and the school kind of explained too, that children, and it's sad to have to say this, but children are put on the street in cartels, and the money doesn't go to them, it goes to their bosses. And if one gives money to the children, it perpetuates the cycle of having kids exploited like this. And these kind of circles of abuse, goes so far that they name people
Mm,
and, put them on the street so people feel sorry for them and
mhm,
they'll get more money. So he told me, he said, you can give to the old people and women,
mhm.
but not children. So
Right. And there are charities that, people had recommended that you support rather than giving out money on the street. It was very heartbreaking. But you also there's some beautiful scenes as well, and the dancing and the music and the love affairs. I mean, those that scenario is both, it was very telling, and I think, and we don't want to spoil anything here, but your time with Samir um, was uh, just drew me right in. I can't find the right word, but that was such an illustration or a spotlight on, like, the cultural differences, and the fact that even though you were in love, it was not unrequited because he loved you back, but it wasn't going to go anywhere. But you fought that. I mean, how did you intellectually come to that? Or, as I was reading, I was thinking, perhaps that was, like the safe way to have this wonderful, loving relationship, but not really have to make the final commitment, as you were really trying to do some soul searching and discover what was who Trish was now.
yeah, I mean, he was a big part of my life there for
Mm,
quite a long time. We were, um, yeah, we were very close. And, part of me, wanted to um, commit to the relationship, but another part didn't because, what if I did? And would I live in India?
mm,
Would I stay there and not, and have my family so far away?
mhm.
Um,
Would he be disowned and, ostracized? I mean,
no,
those are things too, right? No?
yeah, no, he wouldn't. His family was, quite a progressive family, so
Okay,
that wouldn't have. He actually is married now
good.
to a girl from England, so yeah, and they are living in Australia
Oh,
now.
wow.
Have two children, so congratulations to Samir.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Oh, that's good. Well, that's a happy ending, I think, for both of you, right? Because you're
Yes.
back home now.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we still send birthday wishes and things like that to each
Nice.
other. But yeah, that, and I won't give a lot about that away because it's all in
No.
the book. But
Mhm,
that was a very, I did have to come to terms with myself, with
mhm,
what was going on in sort of the Indian culture. I
mhm,
was, very involved with his family and his cousins, and
mhm,
so, and I still am.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, so it was, I had to soul search there,
Yeah,
through that. And it was, whether it was just, what was it? And where was I in this? And what am I going
right.
to do about it? And how am I going to be true to myself? So these were questions that I had to grapple with.
Wow. And like you said, no more spoilers, no spoilers. So you have now the process. You talked a little bit about, the lengthy process of the writing and the publishing, and you've done a beautiful job. It's a lovely book, and I think I I hope it does very well. So did
Yeah.
you love the process? Are you now like, oh my gosh, I just have to write another book? Um, is there more to come?
Yes, I'm actually written 4 chapters to a new book.
Yay.
Not about India, completely
Okay.
different. It's fiction.
Hmm.
So starting that, yeah, it was a very interesting process, and I'm glad I went through it beginning to end um, and understood it, and went through it. So it was, I just didn't give it away and look at the final product. I yeah, it was really good. I very much
Excellent.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you built your own publishing team. So, I always make sure that I reiterate to folks who are watching, whether you're a fellow author, an aspiring author, an avid reader, what goes on in the background of the industry, the publishing business, there's a lot of moving parts. And, we're like ducks, like we're very calm at the top, but our little feet are going, right? Would that be a fair description?
Oh yeah.
Yes. And now the real work happens and it's time to get the message out. So before we finish, I want to make sure that people know how to reach you. You have this beautiful website that people can go to, trishjoudrey.com. And it includes information about you and all of your books and how to get them. So is that the best way for people to reach out to you, trishjoudrey.com?
Certainly. I do have an email,
Mm-hmm.
trishindia4@gmail.com. That's probably a more immediate way of reaching me as well. And I think my email is there. But yes, certainly that would be lovely. And I look
Excellent.
forward to, um, yeah, sharing with the
Chatting with readers, right? And you're on social media as well?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
so people can find you on Facebook, Instagram,
yes. Facebook and Instagram are
Trish India.
Trish Joudrey.
Trish Joudrey, excellent. So, oh my goodness, hard to believe we're already at our time. I'm so excited that we were able to get you on and finally share and celebrate the publication of your memoir, Dancing with the Marigolds. And I hope everybody runs out. And where can people get copies of your book? Oh.
They are at on the South Shore at the Have Bakery, at Dartmouth Book Exchange, on Amazon as well. So, and I have copies. I will be at the library. Oh, I guess this will be finished by the time people,
You're out, you'll be out and about. Yes.
out and
And
about.
so
Yes, exactly.
if you have events coming up, will you have them on your probably on your social media and on your website? So everybody watch for those and pick up a copy. And
Yes.
thanks again, Trish, for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Anne. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. It was lovely to talk with you.
It's
Thank you.
great to talk with you. And thank you all for joining us on the author journey today. I'm Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing, and I hope you're reading a really good book and that you're having a great day. So we'll see you next time on the author journey. I'll